Hello and good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everyone joining us today at our webinar series for LIS students, organized by IFLA's section on education and training in cooperation with IFLA's Division C. My name is Susanne Listrethan. I work for the Austrian Library Association as Head of Education, and I'm also currently the chair of IFLA's section on education and training. And it is a pleasure for me to moderate today's webinar together with my colleague Marina Encheva from the SET Standing Committee of the section of Education and Training. I would also like to start this webinar by thanking my fellow SET colleagues, Marina Encheva and also Alena Katina, for the excellent work in organizing this webinar. So our title today is AI in Library Schools. And today we want to explore how LIS students use AI tools in their studies and also in their everyday academic work. We want to discuss ethical frameworks that support responsible and safe use of AI. A particular focus will be on understanding what students need in order to use AI confidently, critically, and effectively. Before we begin, a few organizational notes. Marina, would you be able to share our presentation now?
Yes.
This event today is being recorded. This also includes the chat. And we will post a video of the webinar on YouTube. The link will be shared on IFLA's Division C webpage, as well as on the website of the section on education and training. And also across social media channels, including Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Please note that the microphones have been muted for this event. So if you do have questions or comments, please type them into the Q&A box. And we will address them during the webinar and also after each presentation. We now want to give you an overview on what is planned for this webinar. So we will start with our keynote presentation, and it will be followed by 6 presentations of our student speakers. And we will start our webinar now with our keynote and our keynote presentation by Iman Magdikamis. She is a data scientist and the director of the Library of Northwestern Qatar. Prior to joining Northwestern Qatar, she worked at the Bibliotheca Alexandrina. Iman's research interest includes machine learning and artificial intelligence in libraries, and this is also the topic of her keynote, understanding the ethical use of AI in higher education and libraries. Iman, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you everybody for coming, and happy Eid for whoever celebrate Eid. I am going to share my presentation. I understand I have only 10 minutes and it's a very long 1 year almost work that I'm going to try to share in 10 minutes. So hi everybody, my name is Iman Khamis and I am currently a doctoral student at Johns Hopkins in education, obviously focusing on the ethical use of AI in higher education. My presentation today is going to focus about the research that I have been doing. And if you are interested in it, it will be published very soon with the Growth probably next year, early next year. Any question you can just make sure to ask them in the comment section, and let's start. So first thing that I wanted to highlight here is that where we are at the moment, what is the reason that I got interested in this topic in first place. So what I claim at the moment is that there was 3 waves of AI in academia. Basically, we started moving remote teaching back in 2020 during COVID-19, and that pivot from teaching on physical space into teaching online have pushed it to use a lot of resources, and those resources, electronic resources, obviously, and those resources have a lot of AI features in it. So that was the first wave in AI in academia. The second wave that you can see is the surge in research, specifically after the emergence of generative AI tools like ChatGPT and other similar tools have made there is a huge amount of research that's coming in and about AI and in academia. The third wave that I claim, or I hope that it is regulated, is the use of AI in administrative part of it. So we see that a lot of library directors or library administration, or even in universities, they're starting to use AI in administrative work. Things like, understanding the community, getting data from the users themselves, and try to using it through AI tools to get insights and information about our community. So that is the third wave. All of this wave make me more anxious about what we are using, how we can use it safely, and how we can protect our community, whether students, staff, or public. The second thing that I also want to highlight is that there are just to give you an idea, that this is a thing that's globally, not only the library and information studies that are affected, almost every other sectors are affected. And there are 193 UNESCO member states have already adopted AI ethics recommendation in a way or another. So it's there, it's already here, it's in everywhere, and everybody is aware of the importance of making sure that we are using it right and protecting ourselves. In my research, I have analyzed those 5 global frameworks. I have chosen them because I think that they are most well put together frameworks for the use of AI in higher education, starting with OECD, the EU, the IEEE, UNESCO, and Council of Europe. So why ethics? What is important? What is on stake at the moment? There are some risks that already have emerged from the use of AI without regulation. There is a case that is known as the Dutch child benefit scandal, which what happened is that there a company that is a health insurance company that used a biased algorithm to segregate or differentiate between the claims that's coming, which claim is valid and which claim is a fraud. And obviously the algorithm that they have used is actually biased, which made a lot of false accusation for thousands of parents based on their racial profiling. So that's one problem that we could actually, if we use AI in education, we are in risk of racial profiling our students and libraries at the same time. The other thing that I claim is that the AI gap is widening. The AI divide is widening because not all of us and not all of our community have access to premium tools. And if you don't have access to premium tool, obviously you're not going to get the result that if you use the free one, which is increasing the gap and it's increasing what we already have as a problem between the well-resourced student and an institution and not well-resourced one. The other third risk that we are facing is the data privacy gaps. Vendors are not really transparent about how our data is accessed and commercialized, and all of us are aware recently of the Canvas hack, for an example. And one day we could access Canvas, the second day we couldn't access Canvas. We do not know what happened to our data, honestly. So that is a privacy issue that I'm concerned of, and everybody should be as well. The fourth point that I want to highlight here from the risks is that there is no legal accountability when AI causes harm in education or in libraries. So for an example, let's say the Canvas hack, like I'm not saying it happens, but it might, just a hypothetical situation. If the data that was hacked during the Canvas hack that happened a few weeks ago got leaked in a way or another, and it affected me as a student, and that caused me harm, who should I sue? Who should be legally responsible for the harm that reached me? Is it the university who didn't protect the data? Is it the instructor, the company who owns Canvas, or is it the hacker who there is no legal accountability clear who should be responsible for that? But on the other hand, there's a huge opportunity when we talk about using AI in higher education and in libraries. Things like personalized learning, things like equity, being an equity hub in libraries, research acceleration, and one of the greater use of AI is the greater accessibility for students with disability and for non-native speakers at the same time. I could read now an article in Spanish, French language that I do not read, but using the translation on the fly, I can understand it in a way. It's not going to be perfect, but at least I will have access to data that I usually wouldn't be having access to it unless I have to pay a lot of money. So there is a lot of, obviously, there is a huge opportunity there. So what happened? Why, when I analyzed those five ethical framework, the five international ethical framework, what I have discovered is that each one of those ethical framework have an emphasis, but they all share the same direction. We are all talking about the same thing. What are the common themes all of those are talking about, or all of those ethical guidelines are highlighting, is the human dignity should be considered. So let's say you are now writing the guideline for the use of AI in your library. You should think of firstly of the human dignity, transparency, what is taking, what type of data I'm collecting from my user. I should tell the user that I'm collecting this and that. They should be aware of all of that, and it should be fair, and there should be someone who's accountable somewhere in this cycle. And finally, it must, and again, very important, which is human oversight. If something went wrong, someone should be able to unplug the system. Again, if we look at those five guidelines, you will see that OECD are focusing more on economic equity. The EU trustworthy AI guideline focus more on human autonomy. IEEE have a different angle because they focus more on the developer accountability, because they are accountable if the software that they are developing cause harm, they are accountable for it. And the UNESCO AI ethics recommendation, the good thing about it is already agreed by 193 member states, which is great, and it focuses on human rights and global equity. And finally, the Council of Europe Convention in 2024, it is the first binding AI treaty among countries, and it has clear guidelines, has also procedures, right, which is very, very important. Probably it's the first one that have this direction. So what happened in the second part of my research, I focused on analyzing the guideline of the use of AI in higher education. And I chose those five universities because I claimed that they have the most well-defined guideline for the use of AI, ethical use of AI in higher education. Again, similar to the international and global framework, they have different emphasis, but they are all again going in the same direction. So Harvard, for an example, focus more on data stewardship. They have a very lovely risk assessment classification. Stanford focus more on responsible use. They have a golden rule when use AI and when not use AI. Yale, for an example, if they have a very lovely literacy program called the Student AI Liaison or SAIL Peer program, quite interesting. If you have time, Google it. MIT have raised initiative, which is quite important and quite interesting. If also you have some time, go ahead and read about it. And finally, UC AI Council have, beside the tiered risk assessment classification similar to Harvard, they also have modular governance framework. Okay, just a lot of information. What we must do now, like if I'm at the moment sitting down and writing in AI ethical use guideline for my library or for my university, what should I must put together first? First of all, we should adapt what is called a proportionality test Most of the global ethical framework are focusing on that. We ask ourselves, should we use AI at all or not? Because if you do not need to use AI, why use it? And then tell you like how to use it. Like then, like if there is no benefit of using generative AI in education, why allowing students using it in the first place? So we should ask ourselves, should we use it or not? That's the first thing. The second thing that we all ask ourselves before adapting any tool is that doing what we call the ethical impact assessment, EIA, very well put together by UNESCO. It gives you an idea and give you kind of an assessment if this tool is good, what risk this tool is bringing to your community. Third thing is including everybody in the policies. Most of the guidelines that I've seen from American University, I claim that they are done by senior leadership and very minimum input from the people who are actually affected, student, librarian, marginalized group, and other, that we all must be together. We are in this together, so we should have at least a saying of when it comes to policy. And closing the sustainability gap, almost none of the guidelines of the American institution that I just mentioned have even mentioned the environmental cost. On the other hand, most of the global framework focuses on that factor and actually putting it as a very important factor. If a tool that is causing harm to the environment, why we should adapt it, and there is our alternative. You can use something that have lower environmental costs, for an example. And finally, most again of the American guidelines from the university that I have analyzed have not have focused on the student and have kind of like excluded staff and workers and community overall. So that as well should be together. We should focus on that. So back to libraries. What libraries can do now? How we can protect our community? So I claim that libraries is actually an ethical AI hub. We have been and we will be always like that. We embody the value of ethical AI. We can ask for equity, access, transparency, privacy, and we can put all of that together in a well-defined policy. What we mean by AI literacy hub, for an example, libraries could provide a lot of AI information literacy session that not only teach student, staff, or and general public on how to use tools, because obviously this is not a literacy, it's a skill, but we can teach them about like how to evaluate the tool, how to understand the biases, and how to use AI responsibly. We also are ethics guardians. We have been and we're gonna always be. We live by these values, so we can. It's our moment now to translate those values into institutional AI policy. We can take our years and years of experience in this area and put it in a well-defined policy and governance for the community. We are also we can protect information integrity, because obviously all of us are aware of AI hallucination and misinformation, and libraries can definitely counter that by curating resources and verification and teaching people how to verify between the AI hallucination and real information. And finally, we can definitely bridge the gap, because everybody is welcome in the library, no matter from where you are coming from, which race, which economical status, everybody is welcome. So we can ensure underserved student and underserved community have equitable access to the same premium tool that their peer have access to. Not going into details here because of the time restriction, but if you are putting together a policy in your institution, these are the 5 pillars that you should build in your guideline or policy on. And I think that's probably it. And thank you so much for listening. I'm happy to answer any question. I hope I did not go over the 10 minutes.
Thank you very much, Iman. Dear participants, there will be option for addressing questions after each presentation. So please use the chat or questions and answers section. We would like to remind you that during the webinar, there is option to download most of the presentations we have today. They are available under the resources section. So please feel free to download and have it for further use our presentations. While waiting for questions from the audience, I will start with a question to Iman. First of all, thank you very much again. It was very informative. You raised attention on really important issues. And my question to Iman is the following. What are the major obstacles to developing a framework to protect students' privacy and allow them to safely use AI tools?
Thank you so much, Marina, for the question, and thank you for the invitation again. There are a lot because again, when we gonna put together some kind of a framework of the use of AI, and we have no idea what those softwares are from behind. Almost all of those software are black boxes. So how you would be able to regulate something like that? It's quite challenging, and specifically in libraries there is this fear, if we do not use those tools now, we're going to be behind, and we have to catch up on other institutions who are using it at the moment, and there's this fear of being away from the system and away from the advancement that those tools are providing. But in fact, or when you put together, it actually causes harm more than it causes benefits. A lot of universities now are asking the student not even use generative AI in brainstorming ideas. And some of the institutions that I've heard of are actually, because the fear that most of the students are using generative AI, obviously, in their essays when it comes to admission, they are not requiring essays at admission anymore, and they are skipping that from scratch, and doing the admission process by interview, which is going to be very costly, and it's going to cost a lot of time and effort in order to filter among thousands of applications to admit students. So there are a lot of things, a lot of fears, a lot of anxiety, and a lot of uncertainty around AI when it comes to AI usage in education and in libraries. I remember 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it was like you have to use AI in a way or another. Almost every presentation, every conference has AI in it in a way or another. But what is it? What does that mean? What does that mean for me? What does that mean for my community? So that's the biggest question. So when I put together an ethical framework, I have to follow the same guidelines that I followed before when using any other software. Like, is it causing harm? Is it transparent or not? Is it protecting my dignity, not doing racial profiling, not putting society ranking and things like that, because we are risking a lot of things here when it comes to students as well. We can put them in silos, we can put them in bubbles by using this type of softwares. Could be very harmful. And there is no way for me to know what's happening behind the software that I'm using. So there is tons of uncertainties around this. But again, the ethical framework that was put together by the international organizations, specifically UNESCO and the EU, are really very easy, well put together, well defined, that we can take them at least as a blueprint when it comes to education, and when it comes to we're not going to start from scratch. In other words, there are some work that's already laid the road for us. We just need to take what we can take from that and adapt it to our situation, no matter where you are or what you're doing.
Thank you very much, Iman. Before going to the questions available already under the questions and answers sections, I noticed in the chat that some participants have problems with the audio. I think it's not related to the settings we have in our webinar. Can you please confirm that the majority of people are hearing us, just to be sure? There's no reaction, but I hope that we don't have. Yes, thank you. Thanks to those of you that wrote in the chat. Concerning the certificates for participation, we understand that this is important for all participants somehow to be recognized about the participation, about the fact that they joined our webinar series. So we will discuss in our group if we can find a way for the future webinars, also to think of participants, not only for the speakers, keynote speakers and our student speakers, but also for the people, registered people in the audience. And now we can continue with the questions to Iman. There are, of course, comments that people appreciate the presentation, wonderful presentation. So there is a kind of suggestion, question. What about the AI literacy frame for the university?
What about the AI literacy framework for university? I'm not really quite sure what the question is about, but if we are talking about what are the pillars that we should build our AI framework on, I think first of all we should think about how that we have to have a foundational of ethical foundational agreed upon, which is the AI tool that you are using is not harming human dignity, human autonomy. It protects our fundamental right. It should be augmenting what we do, not replacing us, and augmenting our judgment, not replacing our judgment. The second thing is that we must have some kind of data classification risk, things like similar to what Harvard is doing, is that what type of data I am gonna share with the system. If it's something sensitive, I shouldn't share. So there should be a quite clear classification tool that, yeah, I can share, like for an example, I should not never share my social security number, for an example, with a software like that, but I can share like general information. There should be a human oversight and accountability. Again, accountability and accountability. It should be a mechanism, clear mechanism, how I could, who is accountable when something goes wrong. And of course, we know about human oversight, having a human in the loop, not leaving the software by itself. There should be human in the loop. There should be human on the loop after someone who are kind of supervising the whole process. And they also should be what's called human in command, someone who can like unblock the system if it goes wrong. For libraries, we are like safe haven for most of our community members, so we can definitely do a lot of information literacy session focusing on what AI is not. Because most of the AI literacy sessions that I have been seeing around like other universities and libraries is just prompt engineering, obviously, how to use ChatGPT, how to use Cloud, and how to use other softwares, which is not what AI literacy, in my point of view, should be about. So it should be open to everybody, students, staff, community member from all shape, way, or form, like not should be open literally to everybody. And we should be focusing on how to fight AI hallucination and understanding the biases and understanding and how to use it ethically. If I use AI tool, it's just mention I have used this AI tool for 1, 2, 3, as simple as that. And finally, something that's quite important is if you are going to allow a tool to be used in your community, it should be equitable to every single member in the community. So equity, access, and responsibility at the same time, teaching our students and our people who are using how to use this tool responsibly. Something similar to when you access a database, you should know that you have access to the database, but you do not have access to share the information in the database. Something like that, making sure that our community are on the top when it comes to responsible use. And any tool that we use, we should ask the developer to have some kind of like inclusiveness in design, that the tool is not racially profiling anybody in any or something like that, just in a nutshell.
Thank you very much, Iman. There is comment from Amugewang Karebotsve. A beautiful presentation. I think the starting point should be the capacity building for librarians. AI is a wave we all have to ride. Definitely capacity building, I fully agree. Iman, do you have something to add here?
I think we don't really need our librarians to be data scientists. Yes, we should know what's happening. We should understand what is AI, but we don't have to be developers. We do not have to understand the algorithms from the other end. Just not to put a lot of pressure on on librarian shoulders, obviously, because we are doing a great job anyway. I believe that we just should empower whoever wanted to get education in that area to be empowered to understand, again, to understand what is happening, what is bias, is what we are talking about. That stuff is quite important, but not don't like overpressure yourself on the fact that I need to learn this or I need to learn that. It just, even like programming with Python, people are saying it's going to be obsolete in a few years because of generative AI. But like, I mean, we are on the right track, but yes, capacity building is quite important, but don't pressure yourself to the point that you think that you have to get an education in data science or like be a developer.
Thank you. So the next question from Etaniele Leo Manawotu. As students and future information professionals, how can we maintain a balanced perspective in integrating AI into libraries? One that neither demonizes the tool nor overprices it to the point of disregarding its limitations. Additionally, yes?
Yeah, I think if I understand it correctly, it's probably what we are all facing at the moment, because AI is new for all of us. If you are new students or you have been in librarianship for like 20 years, like myself or others, it's something new, and we are all facing the same. We are all facing the same challenge. The balance is in asking again the question. The basic question, the proportionality test again, why, if should I use this tool or not? Most of universities from 2 years ago when generative AI started, at least from my experience, I don't want to generalize, but from my experience, we were told that it's okay, use AI, absolutely, use generative tool in generating idea or putting this together. But now, after a few years, when we are seeing the harm output, we have new generation who do not know how to brainstorm ideas, and we are risking that the next like generation who's gonna be taught just using how to use AI tool do not know how to use their skills, because we all have these skills in our mind. You just need to nourish these skills. Yeah, now in some universities, we are not even in my class, for example, I used to take classes where like, yeah, you can use it. Recently, no, a lot of classes are like, no, don't use it. Just don't even use it for a small thing, which just shows you that we are all in this together and we do not know. There's no definite answer, that right or wrong here. We are all trying to do the right thing. But again, it's quite easy. Should ask her, should I use it or not? If there is benefit coming out of it for me, that's then yeah, then I should use it. And before even allowing any tools to be used in my community, I should have done the ethical assessment to know the developer themselves who developed this tool, how ethically they were when we were developing this tool. It's a quite well put together again assessment that's done by UNESCO. Very, very interesting work. Yeah, and making sure that you include the people who you are affected in your policy by the use of AI. You should include them, ask them, get their idea. Maybe I'm not okay with using recommendation system for an example. Maybe I do not want a book recommendation to be put on me because I change my interest. Sometimes I want to read about this, but I'm bored. I don't want to always read about romances books, but one time, 1 month I want it. So the whole thing is quite complicated, and we are trying together here. If you're new students or you are well experienced librarian, we are all in this together.
Thank you. I think that you answered the second part of the question as well. How can we balance optimism and criticism when considering AI's integration into the profession? So the next question from Vajit, Vajit Ali, which AI tool is safe to use to prevent data leak?
Which AI tool is well, depending on which AI tool you're using there. And what do you mean by data leak? I don't know. I can't really answer this question because I don't know what type of tool you're talking about. But like any tool are prone to data leak. But like for an example, if you have used Copilot, you find that Microsoft sometimes have type of agreement with the institution that the data that's not going to be used in training the software, but it's only going to be used in your institution. So when you use a tool, you can have an agreement with the developer or with the provider, like Microsoft or like other tools, maybe OpenAI or Perplexity or whatever. There are like some tools allow you to sit together with the provider, and you can put your own terms. Again, Copilot, I know for sure that they are allowing their model to only doesn't train on your personal data. Claude has something similar, but I'm not really 100% sure about this because again, the policy change. That's another thing. They can start with a policy that we are not going to use your personal for data for training, and then like some kind of an update happen in the way, and then they start using your data in training and things like that. So it's all we have to sit together with the provider and understand the terms and the condition of the software that you're using. Everything can be safe and everything can be unsafe depending on what type of agreement you have with the provider.
Thank you. From the same participant, can we have any library AI which has only library science related information with source or validity?
Library AI which have what?
Which has only library science related information with source or validity?
I don't really get the question. What we need for software, for a software that having only a library information studies? I don't understand the question.
So Susan would like to answer. Yes, Susan.
I just wanted to add, I think from how I understand the question is there an AI that has LIS materials implemented that only uses LIS material? That's how I read the question.
Okay, so AI is not like it's kind of an added layer. So let's say if you are using EBSCO host for getting information from your favorite library a database or like a journal, they have an AI tool that's a layered of on that can help you in doing this. But getting information, you should get information from trusted sources, from your library databases, obviously from journals that's peer reviewed. But there is no AI tool that you can go to it and ask it information, because AI is actually, Alice is like it's a very big topic. Like there is generative AI, there's recommendation system, there is chatbot, there's a lot of things that is in consider AI, but AI is not a product itself, but it's a layer that you can put above your whatever you have that can tailor answers that can help. Like I can put AI on my library management system to help me get a better results from whatever. But like if I want to search for library information studies articles, I should use my library with the databases and the again trusted peer-reviewed articles to get information, to get information. And there is no cheating here. There is like one way. AI cannot help you here at all, and it can hallucinate. So if you ask ChatGPT, give me information about this, I tell you now, you will end up with a lot of hallucination and a lot of misinformation. The only way to get trusted source is by using your databases, books, articles, and peer-reviewed article. If you are into doing research in library information studies or any other field.
Thank you. The next question is from Melanie Lynn Kawope. How can intellectual property rights define its importance when using AI, most especially in handling research studies?
I really cannot 100% answer this question with confidence, because when it comes to copyright and intellectual property right, I have little to no information. I wasn't a copyright librarian, and I always have been technical services. So this is not my area of expertise. I urge you to read about this. There are I think probably the EU, the Council of Europe, the Council of Europe Convention 2024 publication will have some answer to your question, but I cannot with confident answer your question at the moment.
Thank you. Thank you. So from Teraday Manaku, I'd like to know that there currently have a common standard for AI literacy framework that can be applied to the competency of professionals, librarians in libraries, and LIS students.
Again.
Yes, the question is related if it is available a common standard for AI literacy framework that can be applied to the competency of professionals in libraries or LIS students.
I think it's what is developed under each institution. So if you go to let's say if you, I think there is not like kind of a golden rule where like this is a standard guideline for all libraries on earth or all universities on earth. I don't think that there is, but there are institutions like the institutions that I have mentioned, who have put together the time and effort and money to develop a guideline that you can read, analyze, and use what is benefit to your community and to your context, and for an example. So when it comes to information literacy, I urge you to maybe probably go to Yale University. They have a very nice guideline when it comes to their SAIL program, which is a peer information literacy program in about AI. And it's kind of like students teaching their peers about AI tools and stuff like that. Maybe if you they have put together some kind of a very nice document. If you want to read in it, again, peer always benchmark with your institution with other institution. But for my awareness, which it is obviously limited, I do not know any ethic, like any global framework that accepted by everybody or all universities or all libraries. No, each institution have their own developed their own guidelines or their own framework from their needs and from their community at the same time. So yeah, just Google Yale, email someone who works there. They can definitely help you when it comes to information literacy program, AI information literacy program.
Thank you very much. So as we have limited time and a lot of questions, let's answer to the other questions via email. We will transfer them to Iman Khamis. Thank you. And now we can move to the next presenter.
Thank you, Iman, for your wonderful presentation, also for answering the questions, and we will submit you the last questions that we received. We received quite a large number of questions. Thank you, Iman, and thank you very much. I'm happy to now introduce you to our first student speaker of our webinar. It's Hu Xiaoshu. Hu Xiaoshu is a graduate student at the Department of Information Resources Management at East China University of Science and Technology. Her research focuses on social media information literacy and the application of the theory of planned behavior in educational settings. Her presentation today will be on guiding university students in using AI for autonomous learning to tackle social media challenges, a pedagogical intervention based on the theory of planned behavior. We are very looking forward to your presentation, Hu.
Okay, I will show my. Wait a minute.
Yeah, that looks great. The floor is yours. You can start your presentation whenever you're ready.
Sorry, wait a minute.
We can see your slides.
Can you see my slides?
Yes, we do. We see your slides.
Oh, okay, I will begin. Hello everyone. So my name is Hu Xiaoshu from East China University of Science and Technology. I'm honored to share my research with you. My presentation is titled Guiding a Student to Use AI for Autonomous Learning to Solve Social Media Problem, a TBP-based pedagogical intervention. I will cover 4 questions. The first one is why, and the second one is which theory, and the third one is how did we use AI, and the first one is what were the results. And the part one is why. Social media has become central to a student's life, but we are facing more and more problems. For example, misinformation, cyberbullying, privacy breaches, and some manipulation. I surveyed 775 Chinese adolescents aged 13 to 25. Their average social media literacy score was only 69 out of 100. Only 6.96% reached the proficiency. Among all competency, social media problem solving was the weakest. At the same time, AI is rapidly changing education. So this leads to my core question: how we guide the students to use AI responsibly to solve social media problems. Okay, the part one is which theory. I grounded my research in the theory of planned behavior. We can call it TPP. So TPP states that behavioral intention is determined by three variables: attitude, subjective noun, and perceived behavioral control. So why I chose TPP? Because social media literacy is not just about knowing how. It's also about willing to, how to, and being able to. So the TPP provides a complete framework from cognition to action. Here is how I mapped TPP into my 4-stage intervention. Stage 1 is the attitude. It's about attitude. Students write an ideal model report, and the stage 2 is about subjective noun. Students created a responsibility awakening map through role modeling, and stage 3 is about perceived control. A student built a toolbox and if-then plans. Stage 4 is about behavior intention. Students made a smart commitment and complete 21 days of tracking. So each stage was driven by their real problems and produced a tangible report. And part 3, how did we use AI? I will show you a complete example. Let me use one example that runs through all 4 stages. The student's problem is staying up late, throwing short videos before going to bed. In my research, I positioned AI as a learning tool, not the subject of instruction. So the stage 1 is the problem identification. The student asks AI, when can I stop throwing on Douyin? One thing like TikTok. What's the mechanism? AI answered is infinite throwing and variable rewards. Infinite throwing removes natural stopping points, and variable rewards keeps you anticipating the next video, triggering dopamine release. The student redefined his problem from poor self-control to attention management feeling in a algorithmic environment. This was a breakthrough for him. And the stage 2, internalizing responsibility. He asked AI, are there success stories, and how did they do it? AI answered, when students use the physical isolation method, he put his phone in the living room before bed and read a Kindle for 30 minutes. After 21 days, his sleep improved significantly. Then the student found a role model. And the stage 3 is find a strategy generation. The student asked AI, give me 5 specific methods to reduce bedtime throwing. AI gave him 5 methods. like physical isolation, reading replacement, timer method, grayscale mode, and accountability mechanism. Then he chose physical isolation plus reading replacement and made a if-then plan. He said, if I want to throw before bed, then I will put my phone in the living room and pick up my Kindle. The stage 4 action and reflection. On day 3, he failed. He told the AI, at 11 p.m., my phone was right next to me. I said just 5 minutes, but thrilled for 1 hour. Help me analyze. The AI answered the key trigger was phone within reach. Move the phone immediately after washing up, not just before bed. Put a sticky note on your nightstand. The phone is in the living room. Time to read. He followed the advice. From day 4 onward. He succeeded for 14 days. And finally, in his report, he documented which AI tool he used and declared AI was used only as a tool, and all analyses and conclusions are on his own. And part 4 is what were the results. From the quantitatively, problem-solving scores improved significantly. The 3 TBP constructs together explain the 61.5% of the variance in behavioral intention, and perceived behavior control was the strongest predictor. And qualitatively, students' behavior change followed a clear pace, drive, transform, and then achieve. They analyze the mechanisms behind their problems, shift from self-blame to positive action, and learn to use tools instead of relying on willpower alone, and express strong intentions to sustain their changes. And the final part is part 5. I will give 3 implications. First, AI can be a learning assistant, but an ethical guidance is essential. Guide students to use AI as a cognitive partner and not an answer machine. And the third, TBP provides an actionable, transferable framework for literacy education. Third, having students use AI on real problems is far more effective than abstract lectures. The test for measuring from poor self-control to I have a toolbox is the best evidence. Thank you. I'm happy to take questions. Sorry, I can't hear you.
Marina, you are on mute at the moment.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Hugh. Dear participants, sometimes when we upload presentations under resource sections, due to format on the size of the file, there are some issues to download them, but we will do our best to use the section on education and training channels with the approval of our presentations, presenters to share with all interested people today's presentations. Okay, and now we are continuing with the questions to Hugh. My question to her is the following. As guiding students and library users to apply AI responsibly and effectively, in solving social media related problems has become a critical component of literacy education in academic environment. Do you have any plans to analyze in a future research the role of university librarians in this process?
Okay. Mm, yes, in this exactly our future plan, and the university libraries are very important in AI literacy education. In the next step, we will study how libraries can guide students to use AI responsibly, design training programs, and build a service for social problem solving. And we will also explore library-led intervention models in our future research. That's all.
Thank you very much, Flo. Do we have any other questions to our student presenter? So in question and answer section, I don't find any new questions. Now I'm checking the chat to see.
I have not seen any questions, but I think if there are any questions, you can still put them in the Q&A box and we can ask them at the end of the webinar as well.
Yes, sure. And also questions concerning sharing the presentations. Continue, we will do our best to share them. So the best way is to follow the social media, the page of our section where the resources from the webinar series and other projects are uploaded. Okay, so Susan, we can go further, I think.
Perfect. Thank you very much for your presentation, Hu, and we will now move on to our second student presentation, which will be given by a team of presenters today. It will be by Ellen Tamor together with Joselina Celestial, Juveline Cabus, and Kyra Simbajon. All our speakers are undergraduate students pursuing a Bachelor in Library and Information Science at Lines Normal University, the Philippines. And we are looking forward to their presentation on Project RLooms, an RFID-based open library operations monitoring system enhanced with AI analytics.
Hello, everyone.
So, Alien, probably if you are here through two different devices, there will be some noise. Can you exit from one of the devices to be sure that everything will be in the best way, everything will be heard by the audience?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Is it clear now?
Now it's fine. Thank you very much.
All right, I will be sharing my screen. Okay. So, good day, everyone. We are from the Bachelor of Library and Information Science program of Leyte Normal University. Today, we are presenting our project entitled An RFID-based Library Operations Monitoring System Enhanced with AI Analytics for Leyte Normal University, or which we call Project RLUMS. So this project focuses on improving library operations through RFID technology and AI-powered analytics. So with that, our goal is to make circulation, inventory, and monitoring faster and more accurate. And with that, a more efficient for both librarians and students. And this study aligns with the mission of IFLA, which promotes innovation and improves success to the library and information service worldwide. So, by integrating automations and analytics into daily operations, our project supports the modernizations of academic libraries and helps institutions develop more responsive services. And we choose Leyte Normal University, our very own university, as the focus of this study because the library plays a central role in supporting the learning and research. So, as student researchers, we observe opportunities to improve circulation and inventory processes. And these observations lead us to encourage us to explore systems that can reduce manual work while improving accuracy, service, and quality. With that, I am walking you through the introduction and the gaps and problems of our study. So as per the introduction, libraries today still manage many tasks, which is manually, especially circulation and inventory. And these traditional methods can be time-consuming, as we all know, and may lead to delays, errors in record keeping, and by that, difficulty in monitoring materials in real time. So, we propose solutions, which is the Project RLUMS, an RFID-based monitoring systems with AI analytics. Through RFID tags and automation tracking, the system can identify materials instantly, while AI analytics helps librarians understand the usage trends and make informed decisions very possible. So, here are the gaps and the problems. Based on the related studies we have gathered, RFID technology improves circulation and inventory. However, many existing systems will focus mainly on tracking items and do not improve analytics that support decision making. With that, at Leyte Normal University, challenge includes time-consuming book monitoring, possible misplace of unavailable materials, and delays in accessing reliable library data. And by that, to address these gaps, we developed Project RLUMS by combining RFID plus IoT plus AI analytics. With that, it allows both automation, monitoring, and a driven data insights. So with that, I have here Ms. Kara Simbahon to discuss with you the objectives and the significance of our research.
Now for the objectives. Our study has three main goals. First is RFID circulation. This means borrowing and returning books is automated. It makes transactions faster, more accurate, and less dependent on manual work. Second is real-time inventory. With RFID and IoT, we can monitor shelves instantly. Librarians can see which books are available or missing right away. Third is system evaluation. We test the system's performance, usability, and security using ISO 25010 standards. This ensures the system is reliable, user-friendly, and safe. Together, these objectives help us build a modern and efficient library system. As for the significance of the study, this research matters because it helps different groups in the library community. For libraries, it improves efficiency and reduces errors. For librarians, it makes daily tasks easier through automation. For students, it means quicker access to books and a smoother user experience. And for the institution, it supports data-driven decisions and modernization. Overall, this study shows how RFID technology can make library services smarter, more reliable, and future-ready.
So, good day everyone. So for our methodology, we use a prototyping model as our system development approach. So this approach focuses on creating and improving the system continuously through feedback and testing. So meaning the system was not created instantly. We improve it step by step based on our users' needs. So the participants involved in the study were the librarians, administrators, and the users, since they are the primary users of the system. So their feedback helped us identify the important features and improvements needed in the library management process. So for the tools naman, we utilize RFID technology and IoT sensors. RFID helps automate books, tracking, and borrowing processes, while IoT sensors support monitoring and real-time updates inside the library system. So this makes the system faster, more accurate, and less dependent on manual work. Lastly, the system was tested by and evaluated using the ISO and or IEC 25010, a software quality standard, to ensure that the system is functional, reliable, efficient, and user-friendly. So overall, our methodology ensures that the system was practical, effective, and aligned with the user's needs. And for our key findings, there are some of the major features of the RLOM system in action. First, in the dashboard provides a real-time overview of library operations. It monitors borrowing trends daily, monthly, and yearly. It also tracks popular book categories and provides alert or notification for overdue books, low stock items, and RFID issues. So this helps librarians monitor activities quickly without checking records manually. So second is the catalog module. This module organizes and manages library resources efficiently. It stores complete books details such as ISBN, author, category, and status. It also supports shelves location tracking using RFID tags, making books easier to locate. So instead of searching manually shelf by shelf, the system can quickly identify where the book is located. So in addition, the catalog module provides quick search and access for users, improving the overall library experience. So these findings show that the system improves efficiency, organization, and accessibility in library operations.
Good day, everyone. I am Jubilin Cabus, and let us now discuss the development and evaluation of our RFID-based library operations monitoring system. So we built the system step by step using a prototyping model that allowed us to refine it with feedback from librarians, users, and administrators. To ensure quality, we evaluated it using ISO IEC 25010 standards, which measure functionality, usability, reliability, and security. The results show that RLOMS makes library operation faster, reduce human errors, and improve satisfaction for both staff and students. And this proves that our system is not only practical but also transformative for library management. And in conclusion, our study shows that RLOMS is a strong solution for modernizing library operations. It speeds up circulation, ensures accuracy, and creates a smarter environment for both librarians and students. By bridging the gap between manual system and intelligent automations, and RLOMS demonstrates how libraries can adopt global standards in management. So this project is more than just technology. It is a step toward innovation, efficiency, and readiness for the future of education worldwide. So for our recommendation, based on our findings, we recommend several steps to strengthen library operations. First, libraries should fully adopt RLOMs so that borrowing, returning, and monitoring books become faster and more reliable. Second, we suggest adding real-time dashboards to help administrators make quick and informed decisions. And lastly, preparing for future technologies is important. Integrating IoT features will allow the system to grow and adapt to new demands. So these recommendations are practical steps that will make RLOMS a lasting solution, ready to evolve with the needs of modern libraries. So as technology continues to evolve, systems like RLOMS will play a vital role in shaping the future of education. So this is how our system works, and that's all for our presentation. Thank you for listening, and we are now ready for your question.
Thank you very much to Elian, to Juviline, to Joselita, and Kyra about presenting this very interesting and important RWOMS project. So my question to the team is the following. In which courses from the LIS curricula do you think it will be appropriately to incorporate AI integrated system like RWOMS?
Again, I would like to reiterate the question since it's kind of long. So, Miss Marina, you were asking in what specific course in LIS we can integrate this project
Yes.
we have. Okay.
Yes, yes,
Um,
yes.
Okay, to address that, currently the curriculum in our university integrates the different IT courses, we have the web tech, the digital innovations in library, and the system analysis and designs and database for libraries. In that way, we are integrating this project in those courses because actually this study is a result in one of our courses, which is the system analysis and design, that we are tasked to make this system that we are introducing to you right now.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
So we have questions. Is the system need much budget? Is this applicable to school libraries? Since I work in a school library in the Philippines, San Vicente Pilot School for Philippine Craftsmen, Pampanga, Philippines. This is from Michael Cuilafa.
Okay, yeah, we have to address the question of Mr. Mikael Kilala. So, sir, yes, it can still be applicable in your school libraries, like the San Vicente High School for Philippine Craftsmen. But the system may need not to be adjusted based on the school's budget and resources. However, many school libraries in the Philippines have limited funds, as we all know, and this kind of system we are proposing is so expensive but not always practical. But instead, using this high cost system immediately can library start in a low cost budget wherein although the first implementation may require an initial investment, but the long term benefits is such as reduced manpower workload, faster transaction, and improve accuracy and efficiency resources management that make it cost effective. So it's like more like you can see this as an investment to your library institution.
Thank you very much.
Okay, pa.
And we will not have time for all questions, but we can address at least one more or two. If the library is huge in collection, will the implementation of AirFit be too much economical?
Yes, in future collections, the implementation of the system may be come to expensive economically, but as we said earlier, this the implementation may require initial investment, but you can see the long-term benefits it can serve to us. So this can be gradually done by prioritizing initial features first and considering the affordable and open source alternative that minimizes the expenses while improving the library service.
Thank you very much. Thank you also for suggesting new topics for the webinars in the questions and answer session. They will be taken into account. And last question from Wajid Ali. Please guide me how we can connect AirWorms to the AirFit system and which AirFit tag we have to use for this integration.
Okay. To answer the question, how they can contact us, you can send an email to us via my email, which is elaine.tomor2@gmail.com. You can reach out us there, and we have currently not made a pilot testing because the matter is still in the phase 1, but we are taking this into consideration as we go along with the study.
Thank you very much. We can now move to the next presenter. Susan, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you also for answering all the questions and for your excellent presentation, Eileen and your group. We will now have two presentations from students from San Jose State University. The first presentation will come from Marianne Kochendeffer. She is a first-year MLIS student at San Jose State University. She currently works as a qualitative researcher for Stanford Medicine. She also taught in middle school music and high school French and Spanish. And she hopes to work as an academic librarian after completing her LIS degree. Her presentation today will on navigating the benefits and risks of AI in library and information science education from a student's perspective. Marianne, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Let me just share my screen really quickly. So yes, I'll be speaking about using AI as a student in MLIS, both the benefits and the risks. There are definitely potential benefits. It can give a really rapid introduction to a topic, especially one you haven't heard before. It can vanquish creative blocks because it always has an unlimited number of ideas to offer. Again, for the same reason, it can be a helpful brainstorming tool. And it can also now, this is a fairly recent win, is that it can help with literature review searches. It can critique written works, either your own or those of someone else. It can proofread assignments. It can help with CVs and cover letters, especially in terms of these days, I think your CV and cover letter have to pass both a human eye and an AI eye often, and so it can be helpful for that. And it can offer democratization of help, although I think Iman's point that not everyone has access to pro AI tools is really important because that really limits the democratization of help. Because if you have a pro account, you get access to very different things. And this is something I see at San Jose State. All of the students get access to a pro account of ChatGPT. And as you mentioned, I work at Stanford University, which gives me, even though I'm only part-time staff, it gives me access to a huge number of pro accounts to different AI models. So obviously, even as a San Jose State University student, if I want to use AI, what I have at my fingertips is very different from what my classmates have at their fingertips because of where I work. And AI does not come without risks. It has a lot of bias, which has been shown over and over again. There's a lack of transparency around how it decides which answers to share and how it prioritizes the order in which those answers are presented. It is trained on biased data sets because as humans, we have bias. And again, the research shows that that human bias shows up again and again in AI data sets. Also, there are company biases. So the different AI companies have their own priorities and they can build that bias into their data sets. And the individual engineers in AI companies have their own personal biases, which again can be built into how the generative AI system works. There are concerns around AI, what happens with my data. So again, I have access to these pro tools, which are not used to train the AI, but I actually still find there's a lack of transparency around what happens to it. And any of us are vulnerable to cyber hacks, which could, again, reveal our data, even if it's supposed to be secure. There are a lot of very valid concerns around copyright and plagiarism because how is generative AI generating content? It's going and taking content that was created by humans and sharing it as its own work. And you can ask for sources in especially the pro AI tools, but people don't always do that. It's based on the past. I think this is very important. So AI is always trained on stuff that was created in the past, so it cannot give you the most up-to-date information. I know the companies are working on that, but it is still a concern. And again, environmental costs. So I live in California and people love to compare the fact that generative AI uses a lot less water than almonds. And I agree that it's very strange that a state as dry as California grows almonds because they drink a lot of water. But I think it's odd to compare a food that people eat to computing. Here's an example in terms of ways in which we can use AI that are not very effective. So this article has been retracted, which is why it has this strange lettering across, but this was published in Nature Journal Scientific Reports. It's all about using AI for autism diagnosis. And if you look at this image that was shared in the paper, it's quite easy to see why the paper was then retracted. So obviously this is an AI generated image. The woman's legs go through the table, the bench she's sitting on. I have no idea what this vexictorn word means here. Functional features is not a word. So evidently this was AI generated research, AI generated content, but it made its way all the way into Nature, which is a very respected Nature scientific report. It's not the top tier Nature journal. But this is one of my concerns as someone who works in academia is we have always respected the peer review process, and now we're seeing AI generated content that is clearly just wrong, making its way all the way into peer reviewed publication. And yes, it was eventually retracted, but that was after readers of the journal pointed out the problems. So how helpful is AI? Hallucinations. So AI hallucinates, and if you double check everything, are you truly saving time? I would also say that the way in which AI makes errors is very different from how humans make errors. And that makes it difficult for us to find those errors sometimes because they show up in sneaky little ways that we wouldn't expect a human to make, so we don't always see them. It's too easy. So there's wins to struggling to write an outline and also in taking time to carefully proofread yourself. And if you're not careful, AI can tempt you into skipping those very important steps. And also, AI is a conglomerate voice, so it generates its content by looking at what everybody's saying and sharing the most common answers. And so if we rely too heavily on AI, we risk underdeveloping or even losing our unique voices. So as a student, I would love to see very clear guidelines consistently from universities. Stanford University does have some guidelines, but even then I feel like they end up being a little vague sometimes, and they vary. So some professors say, please use AI, and the students oftentimes are like, no, we don't want to. At this point, if you do a Google search, it's almost all AI content at the top. It's built into our apps. And I don't feel like the universities are addressing the fact that it's actually quite difficult these days to know when you are using AI, especially if you're fortunate enough to have access to cutting edge technology. It's not always transparent. Again, clear-cut policies to help us figure out what to do, transparency around who, if there's AI in something, we should know which company is behind it, and then we can research the company's values. Because I think one of the challenges with AI is if I get false information from a human being, I can go talk to that human being and we can work through it. AI has a certain anonymity that makes it really hard to hold it accountable when it does things that are wrong. And again, we need consistency across within a system, an organization, or university or library. We need the guidelines, policies, and consistent transparency so that things are the same throughout the whole organization. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marianne. It was very informative, very interesting. Thank you for the examples you gave. So my question to you is how can the instructional policies regarding AI support LIS educators and students in developing nuanced guidelines that acknowledge AI's utility while maintaining standards for verification and attribution?
That's a really good question. I think we need to create very straightforward guidelines on how to cite and where to cite if AI is being used. Because right now, like I can put it in my references that I used AI, but it doesn't actually tell someone very much about what, the details of that. And I've run into a little bit, so, some of the journals that publish papers, they're asking you to say if you've used AI or not, but they have these very strict word counts. So again, there's not even you almost need a separate place, like an appendix to your paper, journal article, assignment, where you say, this is how I used AI, this is where you will find it, this is how it influenced my work. And also, I think a piece that I haven't seen anyone ask for yet is this is how I verified that information.
Thank you for answering the question. I'm checking about additional questions. I'm also checking the chat to see if there are specific questions. So I don't see questions at this stage, but if you have some ideas, comments, questions to Marianne, please add them, and we will forward them to Marianne in order to get response later. Thank you very much again, Marianne. And now we are moving to the colleague of Marianne from the same university. Susan, would you introduce?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Marianne, for your presentation. And I'm happy to introduce Jessica Tooth now. She's a graduate student at San Jose State University, With a 15-year career in healthcare and technology, her research interests focus on AI in medical librarianship, scholarly communication, and the academic research process. And you can see the topic of her presentation today. You can see her slide before your prompt, building a critical AI research practice. Jessica, we are looking forward to your presentation. We cannot hear you just yet.
All right, how about now?
Perfect.
Okay, I'll just take these off. Okay, thanks for your attendance and attention for the next 10 minutes. So I am also an MLIS student at San Jose State University, as was mentioned in the US, and we've seen the title of the presentation. So I'm going to share a little bit about myself more than I might usually in this presentation, because this presentation is about self-reflection and reflexivity. And so I might also invite you to share a little bit about yourself as well. Besides being a student at SJSU, I'm moving into LIS as this transition in my career, like this third or fourth, maybe transition into my career. And I come from the tech sector where I've spent the last 10 years and the last 5 years as a UX researcher. And so, how does this apply, you might ask? Well, in tech, it's not only heavily encouraged to use AI, but in some places it's been mandated. And this was my reality before I left the industry recently. You might perhaps be familiar with this short clip from social media, and I hope that you can see the humor in it. It was a stark contrast from when I came to academia, and I felt a little as though I was going through culture shock, where AI was viewed very differently, and there was a lot more critique around the use of AI. So for me, this culminated in a self-reflective AI journey, and that's what this presentation is about. So I wonder, though, if I could hear a little bit from you all here in the group and get to understand what is your relationship with AI. And so in the chat, this is the question that I pose to you. If you wouldn't mind sharing anonymously, and I'm placing in the chat a Menti for you to go to. And hopefully, if this works well, taking kind of a chance here, we should begin to see your responses pop up in this Menti with your responses. So we're seeing a few responses here. Hesitant was mine. And whatever the word is, it's your word. Ah, there we go. Some other responses. I use it as my assistant. Reliable. Corporate greed. Interesting. So we'll let this go for just a couple more moments here, and then I'll return back to the presentation. My love robot. Okay. All right. So lots of different responses that we're seeing here. Thank you for taking the time to do that. I appreciate it. So as a student and professional, noticing my relationship change, I became curious. There definitely must be researchers out there who are considering these self-reflective frameworks. And I wondered, what might those frameworks look like? And at a very high level, I found four, didn't dig too deep into these. And as I looked at them, I noticed that they also considered AI more positively or more critically. And so they're ordered that way here as well, leaning a little bit more positive at the start and then more critical down at the bottom. And because of time, I can't really go through all of them, so I'll just touch on a couple here. This one was the most positive. And it argues that although existing algorithms can be biased, they have the capacity to be as powerful to the point of actually combating oppression if you center marginalized communities. So the claim there is it's quite high for this framework. This one I'll dig into just a little bit more. It uses the 5 stages of grief, which I think is fairly ubiquitous, at least in the US. I'm not sure if internationally the 5 stages of grief is as ubiquitous, and perhaps really that comes from outside of the US. So, starting over at the denial stage, it posits that researchers refuse to even sort of recognize AI's relevance or credibility, and it asserts that humans are superior. And then in this framework, it says, well, then as we move along and we get to, I'll skip over anger, but as we move to negotiation, an end user of AI, we move into this pragmatic turn where researchers seek what they call methodological hybridization. And we start setting up these lines where we say, okay, I'll use AI to code or to summarize a document, but I would never use it to synthesize from my literature search or to interpret. And then it moves all the way. Let's move past depression to acceptance, and says that AI is then reframed as like this research partner, or it uses the term a computational mirror. So then AI is returning unexpected or unfamiliar formulations. But notice still, like, at least for me, I thought acceptance is a very interesting term here for AI. It still seems like a positive thing. So I'll skip past this one to the more critiquing sort of framework. And it starts out where AI is treated as like this, what it calls a yes man, where the end user is quite passive in the process, and then moves to this polarized middle state where the end user keeps going back and forth between seeing AI as a threat or any sort of novelty is really like progressive and interesting. Then verification and mastery is where I might really interrogate my AI outputs and I'm cross-referencing claims until I get to this place of this end goal state where AI is really just seen as there to assist me, but I maintain my human sovereignty the entire time. And for myself, I view myself just somewhere in between the two. And maybe, hopefully, you're thinking about where you land as I'm talking through these frameworks as well. So, lastly, really, why ask ourselves these sort of questions at all? And for me, that was asking myself, well, what's the value of this self-reflection and value of reflexivity, other than saying to myself, wow, it's really been a great change from the tech world to academia. And where I landed personally was seeing self-reflection as a resource of rigor and criticality. The idea that bias in this case isn't something that should be eliminated, but it is really this rich place of understanding, or put more simply, that wherever I am in my AI journey, it doesn't live in a vacuum. And a couple of concrete examples of how that plays out is, number one, maintaining AI sovereignty. So it's useful for me to locate along the spectrum of this AI journey where I am to help me think about and maintain my decision-making authority. And the second one, around positionality and accountability, locating myself means recognizing and considering my own power and relationships to the work. And then lastly, this one really stands out for me, is thinking about where I am. Also helps me think about where I have been and where I might go, or where I don't want to go, depending on the framework that I'm looking at. So finally, these are the references from the frameworks. If anyone is more interested, there's definitely a lot more to dig into than I've presented here, and I'm happy to connect. This is my first engagement with IFLA, and I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity. Would love to connect with other students and professionals in LIS. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jessica. Quick question from me. Which knowledge with regard to the AI use gained during your career in the tech sector helped you to the greatest extent to navigate AI in academia with confidence?
That I used in the tech sector.
Yes.
Helped me here. I would say there were parts that I wanted to use and parts that I did not want to use. I think one thing that was helpful for me in the tech sector was improving survey questions. That was one thing that I learned. And then through a research methods course at San Jose State University, I improved upon that because there is a different sense of rigor in academia than there is in the tech sector. We are taught to move very efficiently and thinking about bottom lines in the tech sector. And not that there isn't an emphasis on rigor, but there's a different sort of emphasis on rigor in academia. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much. If you have additional questions to Jessica, please type them in question and answer section. And Jessica can answer during the webinar or after the event. And now we can go further with the presentation of the colleagues from Slovenia.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jessica, again for your presentation. And I'm happy to introduce our next speaker team, which is Pia Utsenka and Chakar Chop. Sarah Bedrendine has also helped prepare the presentation today, but unfortunately cannot attend. All our speakers are from the Department of Library and Information Science and Book Studies, the Faculty of Arts at the University of Ljubljana, and their presentation will be just because we can doesn't mean we will. AI non-use amongst LIS students.
Do you see the whole presentation or do you see the double screen?
We see the speakers.
The speakers mode, yes.
Yeah, okay. It went on the whole screen then. I'll just do different. See if this will work. Okay. I don't see share anymore. Okay. Okay. Oh, I see it doesn't work.
Yes,
okay.
that looks perfect.
Oh, okay. Okay. So yeah, Kyle, start.
Yeah, can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Firstly, thank you again for the kind introduction. But I now almost feel hesitant to present because I only risk losing the good reputation I might have gained by your kind introduction. But in any case, we decided to investigate the use of AI amongst students of our department, whether for studying purposes or more broad and everyday purposes. And we focused on 4 research questions. The first one was, what are the reasons students in our department do not use AI? What are the reasons students in our department do not use AI? The second was, what factors would motivate them or demotivate them from using AI? Thirdly, we wanted to conduct semi-practical experiment to see how well students can recognize AI-generated text from human-generated texts. And fourthly, we aimed to examine whether there's a correlation between students' overconfidence in assessing their own abilities of recognizing such text and their actual abilities to recognize those texts. Regarding the survey participants, they were fairly diverse, although the sample size is admittedly quite small. Admittedly, though, it still represents about a quarter of our whole department, which is in itself also quite small. One disappointment, however, was the really, really low participation rate among first-year students, but yeah, we couldn't do anything about that. So we'll take that into consideration during our next survey. When asked about the frequency of AI use, approximately 1/3 of respondents stated that they never use AI, and they stated that quite resolutely. Another third reported using it about once a week, while most of the remaining respondents said they used it rather infrequently, either once a month or even less. One interesting point was in the results was that they appeared somewhat unexpectedly skewed, which may suggest that some participants were hesitant or even embarrassed to answer entirely truthfully about their AI usage. On the other hand, the most common reasons for using AI were fairly predictable and included tasks such as grammar and writing assistance, quick access to information, and personalized explanations of new concepts. The most interesting thing we found out, and also the most distinctive out of all responses, was the use of AI tools for testing and experimentation, which is likely the result of some educators trying to incorporate such methods into their own curriculums. When we asked the participants about what could possibly motivate them to start using AI, we gathered some rather interesting results. Slightly less than half stated that nothing could persuade them to use AI at all. The slightly less from the other half said they would first want the ethical dilemmas completely resolved. And only a few participants expressed the desire for clearer rules on the use of AI, and just one respondent stated that they would be more likely to use it if they had greater knowledge or understanding about AI. Based on the results we gathered, we grouped the different reasons for using AI into three broader categories: academic use, personal use, and mixed use. The first two categories were both represented rather evenly, but the third category, which included the use of AI in professional and work-related contexts, was somewhat less represented than the others. The latter was kind of expected. We are students first and workers second. Regarding the use of AI for academic purposes, the greatest concerns we identified were fears of plagiarism, the devaluation of students' own work, the feeling that using AI constitutes cheating, as well as concerns about previously mentioned ethical dilemmas and environmental impacts. Interestingly enough, fear of bias in AI systems, which was mentioned previously in two presentations, I think at least, was not mentioned at all by our respondents. The tasks that students were most likely to use AI for were unsurprisingly seminar papers, as these are the assignments we complete by far the most frequently. The remaining results were consistent with our prior expectations as well. Respondents indicated that they would be more likely to use AI for independent studying than, for example, writing reports or even essays. Also, the relatively low willingness to use AI for their thesis was in line with our expectations as well. I now pass the floor to my colleague for the second half of our presentation. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll continue. So then we asked our participants if they could report their capabilities with AI. So here we have the questions or statements that they agreed or not didn't agree with. So first it was, I recognize AI generated text. Which a lot of people on both sides, even though who use AI frequently and those who do not use AI frequently, mostly answered that they don't know if they actually recognize it. And some of them did agree very well, also from the both sides of the participants, even though those who use it and those who don't use AI so frequently. Then about on the statement, I have enough information about AI. It was quite similar. Like the participants didn't none of the factors of agree. I mean, how much they agreed on did not show any like. There's no much a lot people. There's not a lot people that would disagree or agree with it. It's just like middle ground. Like people don't really. We could not see any results that could say that they have enough information or not. And about their knowledge about how to use AI is also very similar than about the statement, I have enough information about AI. So then because we saw that people self-reported recognizing AI generated text quite high, like that they would agree still, we did say that we'd like to test them. So we tested them with 3 texts. Two of them were written by me and Yaka, and the third one we said ChatGPT to write it for us. The fully correct text was the first text about astronaut Sunita Williams, who visited Slovenia recently. Yaka wrote about Artemis 2 space mission and included selected grammatical and factual errors, and ChatGPT wrote about first moon landing. We chose the space team because it's not really recognized or specifically known by our participants, and we wanted to be like have some team that's a bit middle ground and that would say quite the same results. So yeah. So the first text was said to be more likely to be written by humans, as it was, but it was still very high. The participants still marked it as AI quite high, quite high number. And a lot of people did not know what they would say about the text. And here are the text credibility is quite low. Which there were some reasons because people did not know that this astronaut came to Slovenia, and it was a new news to them. We asked them to tell us the reasons they think the author is human or AI. And what is actually really interesting is grammatical errors and lack of them, even though I quite checked that there weren't any of them. But it's very interesting that here is with the reasoning for AI, we have words that native speaker would not choose. So this is quite wrong since I am a native speaker and I did choose those words. We'll see the summary of all results after, and you'll see a quite interesting finding. So the Yaka's text was even more likely to be AI by our participants' view. his text credibility was actually higher, even though he had factual errors in it. It's quite interesting that reasoning for human authorship was that one of the information was made out in an authentic way. So yeah, it was also very highly marked to be AI. And the ChatGPT text, it was recognized very well. That is especially because ChatGPT made a huge grammatical error that usually native speaker wouldn't do, which was quite an indicator for most people. I still let it in the survey because this could also be a mistake from a human if a person would write it and then correct the sentence, but do not correct the specific word, how the word changes to in our language. So yeah, the only reasoning for human authorship was similar style as Wikipedia, and text credibility was also quite high. So in summary, text credibility was rated lower for two factually correct texts, so about the astronaut Sunita Williams and about moon landing from ChatGPT. Participants that were unsure whether they could recognize AI-generated text performed relatively well. They mostly correctly recognized two of the texts as AI or human. Participants who claimed they could recognize AI text performed slightly worse. They said they would recognize AI text, but they did recognize two or one. And two participants who self-reported they would not recognize AI text still identified two texts correctly. It was very interesting that only one person pointed out factual incorrectness of Yaka's text. And we had a participant who fully agreed they know what AI-generated text looks like, answered only two texts correctly, which is interesting because I would assume if somebody would be so confident in that he would recognize it perfectly. And also one very interesting thing is that one participant responded in reversed, marked human written as AI-generated and ChatGPT text as human written. Grammatical errors also served as indicators of AI for some participants and some indicators of human written text for others. So yeah, grammatical errors were quite like very person to person. And also people did not recognize grammatical errors really well. So it's also, we think that that's the result of people that actually looked if that's AI or not, if that's that try to find the reason why the text is AI, and that's why the texts were so highly the human written texts were so likely to be AI, like participants said. Then we actually assessed opinions on AI. So with these 10 statements. Very interesting is that that we have 8 sentences that have all the suspectfully positive things about AI and their impact, and people who use AI mostly agreed on it. Did mostly agree on that part. As for the last 2 sentences were mostly agreed by the users that do not use AI. So that was very interesting thing to find out. So yeah. Then the answers to our research questions. So what are the reasons that LIS students do not use AI for study purposes, especially fear of misinformation, feeling like it's cheating, fear of plagiarism, claims, ethical dilemmas, which were the biggest part, like it was also mentioned in presentations before, and fear from drop of work value, like that their work would be still valued. Then factors that influence non-use of AI among LIS students were primarily ethical dilemmas that we mentioned before. So is there a connection between self-reported knowledge about how to use AI and the use of AI? The pattern we observed showed that AI users self-report higher usage knowledge than non-users, but we can't say that there are any more connections yet. We should have some more research on that. So do LIS students recognize AI-generated text? The vast majority of people recognize ChatGPT-generated text, whereas human written texts are far more likely to be misclassified as AI-generated. So from that, I think that the fear of being accused of using AI and the fear of being accused of plagiarism is quite high, because professors probably also think like that, and also look at the students' work and look for every reason that it could be AI, even though it is not. So yeah, human written texts were far more likely to be misclassified as AI generated. So thank you for listening, and I'm happy to answer all the questions.
Thank you very much, Pia, Jaka, also Sarah, for your very interesting survey and for the experiments you did, really to give a real picture. And this is a well-known phenomenon. What we think, we use our perceptions about the skills and the actual situation. And my question to you is, how can this gap, the gap between perceived and actual AI use among university students, can be filled in the most practical way?
I think that that it would be very practical if we had like a presentation of our seminar, and if people asked about the questions about it, and professors that would actually make time to check the seminar paper and ask the student about it. If student is not capable of answering it correctly, it's probably that the AI did it. But especially, I think that we need a lot of education about the AI, because if we don't know the mistakes that AI makes, because a lot of these mistakes were also that human can make, and because AI learns from human mistakes, this gap education should be really strong, and people should really look closely in the works that they put in, because I still think that AI is quite helpful with how students work today, that it's very insightful, and it can make a lot of quality work, works with high quality. But we still need to learn how to use it properly, and how to make the gap smaller. We absolutely have to check what's in it. If you don't check, there's a lot. I mean, if you want to have, like Jaka made, a factual incorrectness, and if AI makes that and you don't check that, that's probably it. So I think that this gap should be filled with professors and students to actually read what AI gave to them, and professors actually put in some time and actually read the papers thoroughly, ask questions about it. And yeah, that's how I think the gap would be filled, and would be less likely and less fear of being accused of using it improperly.
Thank you very much, Pia. So there is one question. Would it be possible to request for a copy of Pia and Jaka's survey questionnaires? I would also like to survey my peers' perspective on AI usage. Wonderful presentation. This is from Benea Shari Arkinas.
We can translate it and send it to you, since our survey is in Slovenian, so that our classmates would understand it correctly. We can send translation, but tell us on the mail, which mail.
Thank you very much. If additional questions appear, please write them in question and answer section. And we are going to our last presentation from Kenya. Susan, please present our last student speaker.
Absolutely. Our last speaker today is Mercy Kinjan-Chui. She's a library and information science graduate from the Eldoret National Polytech, currently serving as an intern at the Kenya Revenue Authority. Her academic background spans records and archives management, electronic recordings management, research data management, and information retrieval. And the final presentation of today's webinar will be on artificial intelligence in LIS education, a student's perspective on benefits and risks.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Confirm that you can see my screen.
We do see your screen. We see your screen.
Okay then. Today we are going to focus on artificial intelligence in LIS education as student perspectives on the benefits and risks. As you have heard, I'm Mercy Kinyanjui, an intern at Kenya Revenue Authority, an agile tax divisions and custom, enhancing compliance and revenue allocation in the country. So, why does this topic matter? Why does this artificial intelligence in LIS education matters? We see AI is reshaping LIS in how information is created, stored, organized, and retrieved. And as AI tools are embedded in library systems, we see as AI tools are embedded in library systems and research workflows, it raises questions on how well LIS training programs prepare students to work alongside these technologies. Therefore, most discussions focuses on professionals and institutions. Therefore, we find the student gaps. Students are not involved. Therefore, the gap is missing. Aside from that, we have benefits of AI in LIS education. It supports faster literature discovery. Also, enhances multilingual access. LLMs, the large language models, they facilitate translation tools, which is suitable in multilingual environments. Also, in writing and research purposes, it helps us. In writing and research purposes, AI assists in brainstorming and writing. Also, in metadata, it improves metadata generation and multilingual, also document processing in multilingual languages. Also, it supports flexible and adaptive learning, whereby students are able to engage with the material in their own terms, which enhances flexibility. And for innovation opportunities, since students, they're the ones who are gaining exposure to these tools, and therefore they may expand what is possible in this field of AI. However, aside from the benefits, there are also risks and concerns that are involved in AI. One of them is over-reliance on AI outputs, whereby we just accept AI responses without evaluating. And at times, AI is not 100% accurate. Therefore, it can generate some responses which are inaccurate. But we find ourselves most of the times, that critical evaluation skill, most people, they don't embed it or embody it to be able to determine whether the output generated, is it correct? Also, it reduced critical thinking, whereby excessive dependence may weaken analysis skills. And analysis skills is crucial in our LIS field, Also, in academic integrity concerns, we see there's a boundary between using AI as a tool and also submitting AI-generated work as of one's own, like submitting my generated AI work as my own. That boundary remains unclear. Also on algorithmic bias, we have heard it has been discussed. Algorithmic bias in AI models, it affects information access and retrieval. And there is a curriculum reality gaps, whereby AI is evolving faster than some curriculum. And also on accuracy and reliability, we see that AI, it can generate inaccurate information confidently, which is opposite to what LIS teaches us about source evaluation. Aside from the risks and concern, I believe there's a topic that needs a deeper understanding in our LIS field, which is using versus understanding AI. We see as students usually use AI in drafting summaries, in literature reviews, like citation assistance, brainstorming ideas, etc. But using AI is not the same as understanding AI. It's not the same as understanding AI in understanding how bias in AI systems, what it is, and also understanding hallucinations in AI models, and also understanding how to evaluate these AI outputs critically, and also understanding the ethics involved in AI systems. Therefore, we see that the curriculum gap, it lives here in understanding AI, since we do use AI on a daily basis, but understanding that's where and it raises a concern. Okay, what are the recommendations? For LIS educators, they should teach AI literacy and critical evaluation, about also biasness. They embed it into the curriculum and teach us as the students how it works. And for us as students, we should verify the outputs. We should move beyond the passive use of AI, and we should question these outputs. We verify the sources, whether they are accurate, and also think critically about the responses. And also for institutions, they should develop clear AI and academic integrity policies to bridge the gap between curriculum and tools that the students use. And most importantly, for the profession, they should include student voices in AI discussions, like the ones you are doing right now, including our voices, so that we can be able to give our perspectives. And in conclusion, I would like to leave you with a key takeaway that students are not just users of AI in LIS education, they help shape its future. Thank you, and I now welcome questions.
Thank you, Mercy. I like a lot what was written on the last slide. I truly believe in this, that this is in our hands, how we will shape our future in navigating AI in different contexts. And my question to you is how could the students navigating AI tools daily be encouraged by educators and librarians to better understand how AI works and to enhance enhance their critical thinking and deep research skill in the processes of information retrieval and access.
I think this should be a collective agreement, like a collective union between us as students and also as educators. I hope I'm just answering the question correctly as far as I've understood the question.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. And I will address one question from the question and answer section. The others will be replied later. Can I fully replace some traditional library services in the future?
Sorry?
Please. Can AI fully replace some traditional library services in the future? Mercy, can you hear us?
Oh, okay. I was saying it will not fully replace traditional AI use, traditional use in libraries, since also human interaction is needed to evaluation of outputs and also providing assistance to library users. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mercy. And I think there are some additional questions for you. You can answer them till the end of the webinar or later. And yes, these 2 and more hours passed, and we are at the end of our webinar. I will briefly summarize what we have heard today. Starting with the keynote speaker. In her presentation, our keynote speaker from Qatar, Iman Khamis, focused on ethical frameworks for the use of AI in education and librarianship, and more specifically on the ethics of AI usage in LIS education. Our first student presenter, Xia Wuxi from China, offered through her research a student-centered pathway for integrating AI into LIS education, demonstrating the potential of AI as a learning tool to cultivate competencies for navigating social media challenges. The second student presenter, Elian Tamor, and her colleagues from the Philippines focus on the project AirWorms, presenting an airfit-based library operations monitoring system enhanced with AI analytics. For Leiden Normal University, the system is designed to improve libraries resource tracking, streamline operations, and support data-driven decision-making in library management. In her presentation, the third student presenter, Marianne Cohen-Derfer from the United States, reviewed the potential benefits of AI in LIS education, but also paid attention on the significant risks that cannot be ignored, as algorithmic bias and lack of transparency, data privacy questions, AI fabricated citations and inaccurate information, etc. The fourth student presenter, Jessica Toth from the United States, shared her experience navigating AI, which is highly critiqued in an academic environment. She used 4 reflexivity frameworks to help others think critically about their own AI relationship. In the fifth presentation, the students from Slovenia, Pia, Jack, Sarah, examined the factors influencing the use and non-use of AI tools among LIS students from the University of Ljubljana, focusing on identifying key barriers to AI use, including lack of knowledge, unclear instructional guidelines, and ethical concerns. The last student's presentation for today's webinar was given by Mercy Kenyan Jui from Kenya. It had the form of a student-centered discussion on the advantages and disadvantages of AI and LIS education, drawing on literature, observed trends, and personal experiences and LIS training. The presentation covered the role of AI in information search, assessment, and management from the student's perspective. I would like to express my satisfaction about all we heard today. We had really different topics presented from students at different levels, from different continents, but all of them were of great importance. So thank you very much, dear presenters, for your efforts. Thank you very much, Susan, for doing your best for planning and organizing this webinar. I'm very happy about the positive comments in the chat. We had a lot of questions, apologies that we were not able to address all of them, but we will remain in touch. And we have received many ideas for new webinars to be organized by the IFO section on education and training in autumn. So please follow the section on social media, follow our page on the IFO website for the upcoming webinars and other projects of the section. Susan, the floor is yours to say the final words to the
Thank you so much,
presenters
Marina.
and audience.
Thank you very much also for your excellent summary of the webinar. As you've said, we've had a couple of very different topics within the AI and library school theme. We've had excellent presentations, and I want to thank you all for joining today's webinar on LIS in library schools. A special thanks to all our speakers for sharing their experience, their studies, their case studies, their findings, and their reflection and their insight. We really appreciate your time, the time you took to prepare for this event today. We hope that you found today's webinar interesting, insightful, and inspiring. I surely have, from learning from different perspectives. And we look forward to our next webinar, which will start again in autumn. Please have a look at the IFLA website for another call for papers in our webinar series for LIS students. And I see we have our colleagues, Aline and the project team. We now see them in the picture. Oh, that's great. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. And we will see each other at our next webinar. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.